Hello and welcome to my next attempt at a casual stream of FTL. My last attempt saw abject failure, and then I proceeded to beat the game like the next 5 times I played it, despite many setbacks. So obviously I'm just being abused by this game, the RNG in general, all that good stuff. What do I feel like playing today? You know what, I'm gonna go for the Mantis boarding party once again. I like boarding. It's fun. I enjoy it. And the Mantis started the best at it. They get quite a large bonus to combat damage. That is, personal combat damage. You know, just for funsies, we're going to throw a boarding drone in them. Alright, so that will distract them for a while. While I go for the drones. Oh yeah, I start with 2 shield bubbles, so this ship can't actually hurt me. I just realized, / remembered. So yeah, that was pretty trivial. I didn't even need to waste that drone. Oh well. That just had some spare scrap for me. That's always nice. Beacons sometimes have ambushes waiting for you there. Now this, on the other hand, is bad. This is a very bad ship type for the boarding drone, and I can't do anything about it, so I'm just going to leave it alone. That's nothing. On top of which, the storage stations that you can access if you beat that scout, automated drone, whatever, are oftentimes a bust. Anyway, we're not going to surrender to some slavers. Instead, we're going to beat them up and take one of their slaves, ideally. Okay, this is less than ideal. They're Mantis, like me. And they're really good at their jobs. Okay, and they're... Yep. I just need to run around long enough for my teleporter to recharge, because we got one guy on 5 health, and that's bad. And they had a fully healed, still, human coming to kill me. The last thing I can afford to do is lose crew members. Generally always true, but especially true with this particular configuration, where I only start with 2 crew members. Alright, and I got a Mantis crew member out of that. Very awesome. Okay. Alright, this is not good for me, but it's better than the other configuration because my boarding drone can just attack all of these rooms. So it won't be quite as long as that other drone that I skipped over fighting. But it'll still be a while. So in the meantime, hey, how's it going? How are people in the chat, if there are anybody in the chat? If there is anybody in the chat? If there are people in the chat? Whatever the correct grammar is, pretend that I used it. Alright, so this should be over in just a few moments. There we go. And for my prize, I get my drone part back. That's good. Always nice to get the drone back after you use it. Alright, this does not have a room I can really take advantage of, so I'm going to leave a pilot behind. This is an NG. They are particularly bad at combat, so this will go very well for me. And that's another NG. Yep. Easily done. Let's get back aboard here just in time to dodge that fireball, which I'm going to starve out rather than try to put out the hard way. It's always nice when you can put out a fire just by opening doors and letting the lack of oxygen do it for you. Now here, my teleporter actually didn't recharge because I was in a dangerous sector when I jumped. Normally those things automatically replenish. Those are Rock Crew. They have more health than usual, 150 max health instead of 100. But between outnumbering them and doing extra damage, I make short work of them and get the spoils. And I've got plenty of scrap at this point to upgrade my teleporter, which will reduce the cooldown and make it much more likely that I will not get caught in a cooldown cycle when I need to retreat. And this place had intruders inside of it. Guess what I'm not worried about at all. If you said intruders, you were right. You said barking dogs, you are less right, but they are also here. The only downside of this is I don't get an actual reward for completing this. Rebel fleet is encroaching. I'm going to have to make a break for the exit. I'm still not paying anybody's toll for their stupid piracy. Now this is bad. This guy here is a Zoltan. He only has 70 max health. But when he dies, he's going to explode. What is going on with the dog? The explosion will do about 25 damage to everybody. Yeah. I don't trust it. I could have trusted it. I actually killed him before I died. And there's a store, but I don't have time to go to it. It'd be nice if I could, but such is life. And I get a free drone schematic that I will probably never use. I've got a defense drone Mark 1, and that is a defense drone Mark 2 that I just picked up. Basically, Defense 1 drones shoot down incoming missiles, and Defense Andra incoming boarding drones. Defense 2 drones shoot down incoming missiles, incoming boarding drones, as well as incoming shots, like laser blasts, ion shots, you know, all that. So it is extra protective, but it has no ability to prioritize or discriminate. It will let a missile through to stop a bullet, you know, a laser blast that would just impact your shields. That's bad. So I always tend to get screwed by the Defense 2 drones. So I tend not to use them. Most ships at this stage max out at 3 crew members. Later on they'll have more. And I will want a 4th boarder. That slug man is a decent find. He's not really fit for combat, but he can be a 4th man until I get a better combat person, and in the meantime he can be the pilot. One thing that slugs do is they can see where enemies are. They have life sense. So even if you have no sensors, they can see enemies aboard ships, which is pretty handy. They also, even without sensors, will be able to see not just the room that they are in, but all adjacent rooms. Which is to say, all rooms connected by doors. No, I want everybody but him to go in here. But because the slug does not have the extra combat damage that the mantis do, he is vulnerable to getting killed. Or more vulnerable to getting killed than otherwise. This, unfortunately, we're going to have to sit and wait again. I guess none of these guys were in engineering before. No, he must have been in engineering before, because he's second on the crew list. On the bright side, the dog stops barking. But this is how my starts usually go. Nice casual, lots of scrap being added up. Slightly worried about my amount of fuel. There's the dog again. But no damage so far, which is really nice. Which is good because with my underpowered weapon system, most weapon systems, or most ships have a weapon system that starts at 2 bars. This only starts at 1, which means my first upgrade to get it to normal is going to be more expensive than usual. If you have an underpowered system, it is, for whatever reason, much more expensive to bring it to normal rather than less expensive. So I think it's 100 scrap just to get it to 2 bars, and then it progresses normally from there. So it's like 100 for the second bar, and then the next one's like 25 or 30, and then counts up from there. It's weird. I don't care for it. And I guess it's the attempt at game balance. The underpowered weapon system is the mitigation for the excellent boarding capability. And if it was very cheap to boost up to normal, then it would be not very much of a disadvantage at all. But until I actually find a weapon I want to use, it's not going to do much good. And speaking of not doing much good, this enemy ship has a Zoltan shield, which blocks teleportation, mind control, intrusive drones. Whoops. Sorry, clicked away on accident. Intrusive drones. Also stops missiles and bombs, whereas normal shields don't. And they will absorb 5 hits. Or 5 damage, I should say. And without a weapon, I have no way to actually penetrate the Zoltan shield to get a teleportation or a boarding drone over. So they are perfectly safe from me. All I can do is let my FTL drive charge up and run away. Now this is bad. This is an ion storm, which has reduced my reactor by half. And he has some pretty good weapons. I can see this is a flak cannon. But I do have the option to just leave, so I'm going to leave. I'm not going to piss him off in any way, because it would go badly for me. Let's get my shields back online and continue. Once again, we've got a drone guarding a station, but it's the kind that my boarding drone is more effective against. So we're gonna take a shot. This drone... Oh, jeez. You know what, you're gonna go there. The other downside of the Mantis is they repair very slowly. I believe it's half speed. So I'm gonna have my Slugman do repairs until I can power the boarding drone back up. Squarish Link says, "Are you playing on easy? So much scrap." Yes, I'm playing on easy. This is just a casual, very casual thing. Before the Four Job Fiesta resumes at its usual time. This bomb is really being annoying to me right now. Wow, really annoying. Squarish Link says, also quick tip, bring up your evade. Evasion is really helpful. This is a true statement. And that bomb started a fire, which is bad. So I'm going to have Slugman here watch and see when the fire goes out. And finally, the enemy ship has run out of bombs. They do eventually deplete their missile and bomb charges. My only solace has been the fact that bombs don't do hull damage. Or those bombs don't do hull damage, I should say. So I'm still at full health. But I'm hoping to find a store to spend some of the scrap on a good weapon. Especially since so often I have everybody on board teleported over to the enemy ship. So evasion's not going to be too useful to me until I get more crew to have permanent pilot engineer. But in the meantime, I'm worried about my fuel. There's a store. Let's see what goodies they got. That is a good weapon. Flat cannon I was talking about the other ship had. I could buy a cloaking system now. I'm going to need one, especially since I can sell this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy the cloaking system. Now, it's only 40 to upgrade that the first time. That's good. So now I have a weapon to deal with Zoltan shields. And now I'm in an ion storm again. But they won't be able to get through 2 shield bubbles, so I can just do that. Square's Link is insisting I get a clone bay. That is a plan to purchase, but not something I could afford at that point. Especially since I needed to buy the fuel. Alright. And I don't have time to visit another beacon, so I'm just going to head to the exit. And this is too much to get just 1 reactor upgrade. And it's a good thing I have a weapon for Zoltan shields, because my choices for sectors are now Zoltan or Zoltan. So just for that sake, I'm going to go ahead and distribute my crew again. So I just took a quest to investigate some kind of Mantis war camp. There's not too much I can actually do about them, but it'll be 1 fight, and I'll get some reward. This is what I'm looking for, getting all the fuel out of a ship. Have not been getting that one nearly enough. Oh, 2 stores. I'm spoiled for choice. Unfortunately, the quest is down here. Also, unfortunately, my phone is beeping at me. This is... no, it's not a tough choice. I have enough money for both. So now I have a clone bay instead of a med bay. So if somebody dies, like dies, outright dies, they'll just be cloned back to life. As long as the clone bay is powered. And if it's not powered, I'll be really sad because they'll die forever, for realsies. Oh, that's good. That was a random event that decided to kill a crew member, but when you have a clone bay, there's a very high chance that they just get cloned. And they're fine. There are a lot of events that get, or that got neutered by the existence of the clone bay. One of which was basically an insta-fail. But thanks to the clone bay, you can actually attempt it. So yeah, the war camp is huge. It's too huge to attack, and they saw me, so they're coming. Fortunately, they're not coming very hard. All they've got is a missile tube and a sad little laser, and I can defend against that pretty much perfectly. The only downside of the clone bay is that it does very little healing outside of a revive. It only ticks up about 8 hit points, I think, per jump. unless you upgrade it, and then it ticks up more, but it never gets really high. It goes up to 25, which is still, you know, a quarter of your hit points. And I'm getting near the point that I'm going to have to worry about upgrading my shield. So I'm not going to upgrade the clone bay just yet. And this event usually just gives you some scrap, but this time a bad thing happened. Alright, so he just died, and the clone bay is going to bring him back. Unless something really unfortunate happens, which I don't think is going to happen. Yep, there he is. Okay. So now that we're all cloned up again, let's go teach these fools a lesson. And hey, we get a free drone out of it, along with some other goodies. What in the world was that? We're getting kind of close, but I'm going to go ahead and risk it and go for this distress beacon. Now, unfortunately, I do have a cloaking system, but it's not upgraded, so it's not going to work, but I will get something out of it. Yeah, it does let me disable it safely, and I get a small reward. If I had an upgraded cloaking system, I could have actually disabled it. Also, if I had an ion weapon or an NG crew member, some other things I think also let you do it. Anyway, it is now time to take down a Zoltan shield, although these asteroids are going to do most of the work for me. And with the Zoltan shield down, I can now invade. And now hopefully you can see why I want to upgrade shields. Because with their one ion and the rocks from outer space, they were able to take me out and get a pretty good hit in with their beam weapon. Shadow the Hybrid says sup Shadow. And this is just some free stuff. I'll take free stuff. And I'll spend that free stuff to upgrade my shields. And that's how that works. Shadow asks, playing Captain Edition or Vanilla? I'm playing the Advanced Edition that's part of the game. I've never heard of Captain Edition. Is that a mod? I'm going to visit one more before I go to the store, just to get a little extra scrap, I hope. This was probably a mistake. Especially since it just took damage. Oh, jeez. Yeah, if the enemy has a med bay, that kind of puts a damper on the whole kill everyone plan. Oh my goodness. Everything is going wrong. Alright, I've taken that out. I'm just gonna air the room out. Alright, so that's taken care of. Let's get some repairs going. Alright, so a couple deaths later and a couple near deaths. I've taken care of that. I'm gonna go ahead and finish these guys off. Anyway, Shadow the Hybrid says Captain's Edition is a mod that adds a lot of content to the game, 3 times as much as the Advanced Edition does. I will have to look into that sometime. But right now I just want to win a game on the stream. It's not a lofty goal, but it's mine. This is a mercenary. You get lots of options for what you can do with the mercenary, including just tell him to F off. We're going to kill him, because, you know, if we kill him, we get stuff. And I can take this guy. No problem. Shadow the Hybrid says your boarding setup is not great. Don't I know it. But they're dead now. Let's see, I could get another crew member. That would probably be helpful. Yeah, let's get this expert pilot. That seems like a good idea. You know what? Yeah, let's get a human while we're at it. Shadow the Hybrid says, for maximum efficiency, I suggest firebombs and rock crew. I know the advantage of rock crew. It's just, I personally prefer Mantis. It's probably a mistake, but it's personal preference. And that was a mistake. Speaking of, since I just got rocked by a random event. Yeah, I think I'm good. Yeah, as Shadow points out, Rock Crew have the extra 50 health and are fireproof, so they have a lot of synergy with the firebomb weapons for a boarding strategy. You know, I'm going to grab a slave before the fight, and I did not get one. Darn it. Okay, let's just murder them then. Yep, I did not get a new crew member out of that, which is a little unfortunate. But I did hire some crews, so I'm actually pretty close to maxed out. And this should be an easy win. There we go, and I get another defense drone Mark II. I already didn't use the first one I got, but hey, it's extra scrap, I guess. And I don't have anything that uses missiles, so I'm just going to go ahead and give him that. And I think I would have preferred scrap to a reactor upgrade, but oh well. Speaking of missiles, now I have a missile weapon. It's going to be useful much later. And I have another boarding drone. So many redundant systems. And they're not selling anything good. Fire suppression, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Let's upgrade our shields to max, get some extra energy, and power up the doors. Just in case I get more situations with borders. And hey, look at that. We got another ship with a medbay. And all three of those missed. Awesome. And that was some beautiful timing. Maybe I should just throw a boarding drone at him. I think I need to. Oh, there we go. Perfect. As soon as I give up, it actually works. So I think that is a sign that I need to upgrade the weapon system so I can use that missile if I need to. I do not have an engine aboard my ship, unfortunately. If I had an NG, this would be a great event. But as it is... it is instead a pretty mediocre one. That will basically just let me kill and loot this ship. Yep, so I get the loot. I'm gonna beam them aboard and get a crew member. Or I guess not. They want to go home. So that gave me some scrap. That's fine. I'll take scrap. That gave me a nice infusion of fuel. And also killed off 2 of my crew. But that just means they come back with full health. Oh, 2 stores. No waiting. Looks like I have time for 2 jumps, so I'm going to hit another beacon before I go to the store. And I get boarded again. And there are 4 mantis on board that ship. So I'm going to have some deaths, but they don't have a way to heal themselves. So once the clone bay does its thing, I should be fine. And I think that's going to be my next upgrade as well. Yep, easily done. Let's go ahead and upgrade the clone bay, so I'll get the 25 healing per jump. Also make it harder for them to knock out my clone bay. And this is a very important upgrade for a boarding party, the Zoltan Shield Bypass. Lets me teleport through super shields. That is an automatic get as soon as I see it. And I can't go to the exit from here, so I guess I'm visiting the other store and then having to fight my way out. That kind of sucks. And they don't even have anything I want here. Oh, this room's on fire. And it's not on fire anymore. So let's just kill these guys. That is the advantage of having a slug, is you can see that kind of thing. Although, if I had upgraded sensors, it would also serve the same purpose. But upgraded sensors cost scrap. There's another store, let's hit it up. I'm still hoping for a third weapon that I can use. That sucked. That also sucked. What the hell is going on here? Alright, new plan. I'm going to send in the boarding party, get the pilot out of the seat, then launch the missile. Alright. That was probably not worth the number of missiles I had to spend on it. Oh well. I'm getting quite awash in fuel now. Hey, a freeboarding drone that I already have one of, that I'm barely ever using. Gary says letting go of Final Fantasy for a minute, Circle Master. I still had half an hour before Final Fantasy. I just wanted to do something casual. Now these guys have a clone bay that I would like to destroy before the clone comes back, and I did not succeed in doing so. And now it's dead. I had to throw some damage at my own guys. Also, should have done a boarding drone. Or not a boarding drone, a defense drone, but oh well. I'm dumb and forgot. Yeah, we can't allow that thing to fire. That is a glaive beam. That will go through 2 shield levels. Although, it can't actually reduce me to 2 shield levels, so I'm technically fine. And hey, a rock member. That is useful, especially with maxed out repair skill already. So he repairs 20% faster. I will take that any day of the week. Let's fix up my stupid ship. Yeah, that'll work for a 3rd weapon. Right, let's sell this extra boarding drone. And let's upgrade our weapon system some. And that takes care of that mid-bay. CCS 905 says, I am CCS 905 from the Mantis Abuse Help Centers. I see you've been letting these mantis get to slivers of life. You're going to have to go. But in all seriousness, what's up? The mantises that you see having slivers of life are just clones, and the real mantises are the ones that come out of the clone base, so it's fine. Everything's fine, perfectly fine. No violations of any sort here. And let's just attack these rebel scum, because they're rebel scum, and deserve it. And speaking of people who deserve things, let's make them suck vacuum before I murder them. That went quite well, I think. And we're off to... oh, let's go to the Rebel Stronghold. That sounds like a fun place to be. And I've already got a full crew, so I'm not going to hire anyone. We'll head down to the distress beacon. And I think I can afford to give them some fuel. And they gave me a sector map in exchange. I don't see how I'm going to get to that either of these stores. Well, I could go to this one, I guess. Sure, I'll go to this one. And they don't have anything I want. That was a mistake. Oh well. You are trying to hit me with a hacking drone, and that's rude. I hope you realize that. And it worked, which is even more rude. But it only worked against my teleport room, which I don't really care about all that much. Really, only one of those hit. That's more like it. That did not hit anything. Alright, let's get our last one of those. Let's max out our doors and start working on our engine. Why not? Let's get some evasion going. I'm worried about getting caught up and overtaken by this rebel fleet. Which is not a good thing, if I'm honest. And instead of that, I'm going to do a boarding drone. There we go, that's done. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting to that store. What is with all the drones? And I just lost my engine, which is not good. Also not good, them firing 6 shots at me. So let's take care of that little problem. And I get another system repair drone that I don't need. Yeah, I'll pay 18 scrap for an oxygen upgrade, why not? So we are rapidly approaching the final sector, and there was actually no encounter there, so we are entering the last stand, where I'm going to have to deal with the Rebel flagship and its myriad problems. Also, what a horrible beacon layout. And I don't need another Mantis. I'm long past the point where that would be useful. Trying to do this without spending a missile. And there we go. I don't really want to go meet them, so I'm just going to hang out. Okay, so I need to free up that. That should be good. So defense drone up. And they're going to cloak, so I can't do anything about that. And depending on what this hacking system lands on, that's fine. I was going to say, depending on what that lands on, I might have to... Oh, jeez. Yeah, I need full-powered teleporters for now. Take care of these weapon systems. Then I will see what I can do to disable, and by disable I mean murder, their enemy crew. So if I can do that, it becomes a lot simpler. Gary says, I know nothing about this game, but it does seem to borrow a lot from the Star Trek verse. It borrows from a variety of sources. I don't need the cloaking at this point, so I can depower that. Get a little extra evasion, although once this last weapon system is down, even that's pointless. Alright, so now the goal is to disable their med bay and then beam aboard. I'm gonna wait for the next cloaking cycle. Actually don't need defense drone anymore. I can pump that into the clone bay, which I will need. Alright, and we got a fire up. If the fire takes out the oxygen system, I'm in trouble, so I'm really hoping they put the fire out, but not while they're cloaked. Because if they... Yep, and it's fixed. Okay, that should... Nope, it didn't disable it. Darn it. Yeah, all the mantis are gonna die. And this is why we bump up the clone bay's power, to get the clones back faster. Alright, so I wait for the cycle to finish. I hopefully disable the med bay. And there's another fire, which is not good for me. So once again, they're going to put the fire out while they're cloaked, and then by the time the cloak expires, the med bay will be repaired, and I'll have to shoot it again. The med bay is not repaired, actually. Awesome. Let's go murder them while they can't heal. This is going to make the rest of this phase and future phases much more bearable. I just need to leave this guy alive in his little pod with the regular blasters. Because if you kill all of the crew, an AI kicks in and it acts like an unmanned scout, which means all of its systems will auto-repair over time, which is horrible. It is the last thing we want. Right, don't need the Pegasus missiles anymore. Just need to take out the shield and the piloting, and then I can pound it with my weapons. And that'll do it. For the first phase, it's now going to jump away and start the next phase. So I won't need the clone bay powered anymore, but I'm going to need defense back. I'm going to need engines as best I can get them. And I'm going to put the cloaking system back on, because they're now going to launch boarding drones along with the missiles. And I need my defense drone to shoot them down, please. And it did not. What a bitch. Yeah, where'd that human go? Human, go back to the shields. That is not going to... There we go. You can go back to weapons now, thanks. That was very close. Almost had another boarding drone come aboard. Once I kill the drone system, I don't have to worry about boarding drones. I can redirect power back to the weapons and destroy the ship. And it'll all be good. And this is much simpler than having to deal with the crew who would be able to repair things. As my weapons certainly will not be able to do enough damage through 4 shield bubbles to take care of this. And now we're going into the last phase. The phase for which I need that Zoltan shield bypass, because the last phase has a Zoltan shield. Who is mind controlled? The person on the shields. That's fine. I can destroy the mind control system easily enough. That was stupid of me. Somehow I dodged enough of that I took minimal damage. So with these systems disabled, I just need to physically knock out the shield. use my cloak to dodge this barrage of blasters, which is the only thing it can really threaten me with. And now I should be fine. Just one more shot of something will take it out. And there we go. We've destroyed the rebel flagship, saved the Federation, all of that good stuff, and with 5 minutes to spare before the Four Job Fiesta. Is actually a really poor score for this ship in my experience. But oh well. So that's FTL. I spend way too much time playing this casually, just for fun. I've done hard playthroughs, but I just play on easy these days just because it's a casual, fun thing. That's not too stressful, except when I stream it, and I lose every time for some reason. But no, I can absolutely win this game. So, thank you for joining me, and until 5 minutes from now, when the Final Fantasy V Four Job Fiesta resumes, take care.